Somewhere in the vast, silent expanse of space, a signal whispers from the void, a message from a civilization long extinguished. Aboard the starship, Astrea Dash, humanity's finest explorers stumble upon an enigma that could rewrite history or doom their future. As they race to decode its cryptic language, time is running out. What secrets lie buried in the echoes of the past? And what happens when those echoes awaken? Dive into this mind-bending sci-fi thriller now, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that will leave you questioning everything. The starship, Astrea, drifted silently through the velvet blackness of deep space, its sleek hull reflecting faint pinpricks of light from distant stars. It was a vessel born of human ambition, designed to push the boundaries of exploration further than ever before. For months, it had traversed uncharted regions of the galaxy, its crew driven by a mix of curiosity and desperation. Earth's resources were dwindling, and finding new worlds or ancient knowledge had become humanity's last hope. But as the ship approached an unremarkable sector of space, a region marked only by a faint gravitational anomaly, the instruments began to detect something extraordinary. A signal, weak but persistent, pulsed across the electromagnetic spectrum. At first, it seemed like random noise, the kind generated by cosmic phenomena. Yet closer analysis revealed patterns too intricate to be natural. The signal carried within it fragments of structure, hints of intelligence. This was no ordinary discovery. It was a voice calling out from the depths of time. As the crew worked tirelessly to amplify and analyze the transmission, a sense of unease settled over them. The signal emanated from a planet orbiting a dying star, its surface scarred by cataclysmic events. Whatever civilization had once thrived there was gone, reduced to ruins swallowed by ash and shadow. Yet here was proof that they had existed, proof etched into the fabric of space itself. The implications weighed heavily on everyone aboard. Was this a warning? A plea for help? Or merely the remnants of a culture that had succumbed to its own hubris? Each passing hour brought new questions, but also urgency. Something about the signal felt alive, almost sentient, as if it were waiting for someone to listen. The planet designated RX 728 loomed large in the viewport, a desolate sphere cloaked in perpetual twilight. Its atmosphere was thin and toxic, streaked with sulfuric clouds that churned above jagged mountains and endless plains of obsidian glass. Scans suggested the surface had been subjected to unimaginable forces, impacts, volcanic eruptions, perhaps even warfare. Despite this, the signal grew stronger as the Astrea entered orbit, confirming its origin somewhere beneath the shattered crust. Captain Elias Voss stood silently in the command center, his sharp features illuminated by the glow of holographic displays. He knew the risks involved in landing on such a hostile world, but he also understood the stakes. Humanity needed answers, and this signal might hold the key to survival or destruction. Preparations for descent were meticulous. The away team consisted of 4 individuals chosen for their expertise: Dr. Leorichin, an astrophysicist specializing in extraterrestrial communications; Lieutenant Arjun Malik, a seasoned pilot and engineer; Commander Sofia Alvarado, a geologist with extensive experience in planetary surveys; and Dr. Isaac Fox, a linguist trained in deciphering unknown languages. Each member carried the weight of responsibility, knowing that failure could mean not just their deaths but the loss of invaluable knowledge. As the shuttle detached from the mothership and descended toward the alien landscape, the signal intensified, filling the cabin with low-frequency vibrations that resonated in their chests. It wasn't just a recording, it was dynamic, shifting subtly as though responding to their presence. Upon touchdown, the team emerged into a surreal environment. The ground crunched underfoot, brittle shards of crystalline rock scattering with each step. Towering spires of blackened stone jutted skyward, their surfaces etched with strange markings that glowed faintly in the dim light. These symbols seemed deliberate, carved with precision far beyond anything nature could produce. They appeared everywhere, in the walls of collapsed structures, on monolithic statues half buried in the dirt, even embedded in the very bedrock. It was clear that whoever had created these artifacts possessed technology and artistry far advanced compared to humanity. But what purpose did they serve? And why had they been left behind? Dr. Chin moved methodically among the ruins, her scanner humming softly as it mapped the surrounding area. Every piece of data reinforced the theory that this place had once been a thriving metropolis, its streets bustling with life. Now, all that remained were skeletal remains of buildings and eerie monuments that spoke of a people who revered both science and spirituality. She paused before one particularly imposing structure, a pyramid-like edifice crowned with a lattice of metallic beams that shimmered despite the lack of sunlight. Embedded within its core was a pulsating orb, the source of the signal. Up close, the vibrations became almost unbearable, reverberating through her body like a heartbeat. Commander Alvarado joined her shortly after, her boots crunching against the fragile terrain. Together, they examined the orb, noting how its glow shifted hues depending on their proximity. It seemed to react to movement, emitting bursts of energy when touched or approached too quickly. There was intelligence here, not artificial, but organic, encoded in wavelengths and frequencies that defied conventional understanding. Back on the shuttle, Dr. Fox pored over recordings of the signal, isolating segments that repeated with mathematical precision. His initial hypothesis was that it contained linguistic elements, though the syntax bore no resemblance to any known language. Patterns emerged, however, suggesting a narrative structure. Perhaps it was a story, a chronicle of the civilization's rise and fall. Or perhaps it was something else entirely, a warning meant to deter intruders. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Malik inspected the shuttle's systems, ensuring they remained functional despite the harsh conditions. Dust storms swept across the horizon, carrying particles that corroded metal and interfered with electronics. Survival depended on maintaining equipment integrity, yet every tool seemed prone to failure in this unforgiving environment. Still, Malik pressed on, determined to keep the mission moving forward. Time was slipping away, and the longer they stayed, the greater the risk of unforeseen complications. Hours turned into days as the team delved deeper into the mystery of RX-728. Progress was slow but steady, each discovery building upon the last. Inside the pyramid, they uncovered chambers filled with relics, devices whose functions eluded even their most advanced diagnostic tools. Some emitted soft hums, while others remained inert until activated by touch. One artifact in particular caught Dr. Chen's attention, a spherical object encased in translucent material, suspended midair by magnetic fields. When she attempted to interact with it, the sphere projected a series of holographic images onto the walls. Scenes unfolded before their eyes, vast cities teeming with activity, skies dotted with flying machines, oceans brimming with aquatic creatures. It was a vision of prosperity, a glimpse into a golden age now lost to time. Yet alongside these idyllic depictions were darker visions. Planetary bombardments, cities reduced to rubble, populations fleeing in terror. The contrast was jarring, leaving the team unsettled. What catastrophe had befallen this civilization? Had they destroyed themselves, or had some external force intervened? Dr. Fox believed the answer lay within the signal itself. By cross-referencing the holograms with the audio patterns, he identified recurring motifs that hinted at causality. Certain phrases coincided with images of conflict, while others aligned with moments of peace. Slowly, painstakingly, he pieced together fragments of meaning. Words began to form: creation, balance, collapse. Each term carried layers of significance, their true definitions obscured by cultural context. Captain Voss monitored the situation remotely from the Astrea Dash, his expression grim as reports filtered in. Supplies were dwindling, and morale was beginning to waver. Yet he couldn't bring himself to order an evacuation. Not yet. Something about this place compelled him to stay, to uncover the truth hidden beneath the ruins. Perhaps it was the realization that humanity stood on the precipice of a similar fate. If they failed to learn from the mistakes of others, history would repeat itself. The orb at the heart of the pyramid continued to pulse, its rhythm growing erratic as the team probed deeper into its mechanisms. Dr. Chen theorized that it served as both transmitter and repository, storing vast amounts of information encoded in quantum states. Accessing it required solving a complex puzzle, one that demanded synchronization between multiple users. Working together, the team positioned themselves around the orb, following instinctual cues dictated by subtle changes in its luminescence. As their hands hovered near its surface, the vibrations intensified, culminating in a blinding flash of light. When the glare subsided, they found themselves standing in a virtual reconstruction of the city depicted in the holograms. Buildings towered above them, their facades gleaming with iridescent colors. People, holographic projections of the planet's former inhabitants, moved about their daily lives, oblivious to the intruders in their midst. The simulation was breathtakingly detailed, capturing nuances of behavior and emotion. Children laughed as they played in fountains. Merchants called out to passers-by. Artisans crafted intricate sculptures using techniques unfamiliar to human eyes. For a brief moment, the team forgot where they were, awestruck by the vibrancy of this ghostly world. But the illusion didn't last. Shadows began to creep across the skyline, accompanied by distant rumblings. The cheerful bustle gave way to panic as explosions rocked the city. Fires erupted, consuming entire districts in seconds. The air filled with screams and the acrid stench of burning materials. The team watched helplessly as chaos unfolded, unable to intervene or escape. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, the scene froze. A single figure materialized before them, a towering humanoid draped in flowing robes adorned with sigils. Its face was obscured by a mask resembling the sun, radiating warmth and authority. Without speaking, it extended a hand, gesturing toward the horizon. Beyond the flames, a massive construct loomed, a machine unlike anything they'd ever seen, its design both beautiful and terrifying. The machine dominated the landscape, its spindly limbs stretching skyward like the roots of an inverted tree. Energy coursed through its framework, crackling with power that defied comprehension. According to the simulation, it had been the catalyst for the planet's downfall, a creation intended to harness the forces of nature, but ultimately spiraling out of control. The robed figure conveyed this information silently, embedding memories directly into the minds of the team members. They experienced flashes of insight, seeing the machine's development from conception to completion. Scientists celebrated breakthroughs, politicians debated ethical implications, citizens marveled at the promise of limitless energy. But hubris blinded them to the dangers lurking beneath the surface. Dr. Chin staggered back, overwhelmed by the influx of foreign thoughts. She saw equations scrawled across her vision, formulas describing processes that violated fundamental laws of physics. Lieutenant Malik felt the weight of responsibility resting on engineers who had ignored warnings, prioritizing progress over caution. Commander Alvarado witnessed the ecological collapse triggered by the machine's activation. Entire ecosystems collapsing overnight, species driven to extinction within weeks. And Dr. Fox absorbed fragments of philosophical debates, arguments over whether technological advancement justified the cost of annihilation. The simulation ended abruptly, depositing the team back in the pyramid. Their breaths came in ragged gasps, hearts pounding as they processed what they'd learned. The orb pulsed gently, as if acknowledging their comprehension. It wanted them to understand, to remember. But why? What purpose did it serve to relay this tragic tale to outsiders? Captain Voss suspected the answer lay in the final phase of the puzzle. Only by fully decoding the signal could they unlock its ultimate meaning. The orb's glow intensified, bathing the chamber in an ethereal blue light that seemed to pulse with a life of its own. The team exchanged uneasy glances, each aware that they were on the cusp of something monumental. Dr. Fox broke the silence, his voice trembling with a mix of awe and trepidation. He explained that the signal wasn't just a message, it was a key. A key to unlocking the machine's secrets, dormant but not destroyed. The realization sent a shiver through the group. This wasn't merely about understanding the past, it was about confronting the future. The machine, though catastrophic in its original context, might hold answers to humanity's most pressing challenges. But tampering with such a relic carried unimaginable risks. Captain Voss weighed the options carefully. The Astrios resources were finite, and every moment spent here brought them closer to running out of time. Yet abandoning the mission now felt like turning their backs on history itself. Reluctantly, he gave the order to proceed. The team would attempt to interface with the orb, using the data they'd gathered to synchronize their equipment with its quantum frequencies. It was a delicate operation, requiring precision and patience. Dr. Chin took the lead, her fingers dancing across holographic controls as she calibrated the shuttle's systems to match the orb's output. Lieutenant Malik monitored the energy readings, ensuring that any fluctuations wouldn't destabilize their gear. Meanwhile, Commander Alvarado and Dr. Fox stood ready to document whatever emerged from the process. As the synchronization reached its peak, the orb emitted a low hum that resonated through the chamber. The ground trembled slightly, and the air grew thick with static electricity. Then, without warning, the orb shattered into countless fragments, releasing a torrent of information that flooded their systems. Images, sounds, and sensations bombarded them simultaneously, overwhelming their senses. They saw glimpses of the machine's inner workings, its mechanisms designed to manipulate matter and energy on a cosmic scale. They heard voices, distorted yet unmistakably urgent, urging caution. And they felt emotions, despair, regret, and finally, hope. The message was clear: the machine had been a double-edged sword, capable of both creation and destruction. Its creators had sought to leave behind a legacy, a chance for others to learn from their mistakes. The influx of data left the team disoriented, their minds struggling to process the sheer volume of information. Dr. Fox was the first to recover, his training in linguistics allowing him to parse fragments of the transmission. He identified recurring themes, balance, harmony, and the interconnectedness of all things. These concepts formed the philosophical backbone of the civilization, guiding their technological advancements until ambition overtook wisdom. The machine, originally conceived as a tool for sustainability, had spiraled out of control due to miscalculations and unchecked ambition. Its creators had tried to shut it down, but by then it was too late. The simulation they had witnessed earlier wasn't just a record of events, it was a cautionary tale encoded in vivid detail. Dr. Chen focused on the technical aspects of the data, isolating schematics and operational parameters. She noted redundancies in the design, fail-safes meant to prevent catastrophe. But these safeguards had been bypassed, either intentionally or accidentally, leading to the chain reaction that doomed the planet. Lieutenant Malik examined the energy signatures, recognizing patterns consistent with quantum entanglement. The machine hadn't just manipulated physical matter, it had tapped into the very fabric of reality, bending space and time to its will. Such power was intoxicating and ultimately devastating. Commander Alvarado, meanwhile, studied the environmental impact, piecing together how the machine's activation had triggered cascading ecological failures. Entire biomes had collapsed within days, leaving behind a barren wasteland. Captain Voss listened intently as his team relayed their findings, his expression grim. The parallels to humanity's current predicament were impossible to ignore. Earth faced similar challenges: resource depletion, climate change, and the ever-present temptation to sacrifice long-term stability for short-term gain. The machine represented both a warning and an opportunity. If humanity could decipher its principles and apply them responsibly, it might offer solutions to problems that seemed insurmountable. But if misused, it could spell disaster on an even greater scale. The question remained, were they ready to wield such power? The decision to locate the machine itself was unanimous, though fraught with risk. The pyramid's holograms had shown its position near the planet's equator, buried beneath layers of volcanic rock. Reaching it would require navigating treacherous terrain, braving toxic storms, and enduring extreme temperatures. Yet the potential rewards outweighed the dangers. Equipped with portable scanners and protective gear, the team set out on foot, their path illuminated by the dim glow of their helmet lights. The journey was grueling, each step a battle against exhaustion and the hostile environment. Dust clung to their suits, clogging filters and reducing visibility. Winds howled around them, carrying shards of glass-like particles that threatened to puncture their equipment. Despite these hardships, morale remained surprisingly high. The sense of purpose buoyed them, driving them forward even when doubt crept in. Along the way, they encountered remnants of the ancient civilization, crumbling statues, abandoned vehicles, and artifacts half buried in the ash. Each discovery added depth to their understanding of the people who had once called this world home. They were a culture of contrasts, blending scientific rigor with artistic expression, pragmatism with spirituality. Their achievements were breathtaking, their downfall tragic. The team couldn't help but feel a kinship with them, knowing that humanity shared many of the same strengths and weaknesses. After hours of relentless trekking, the scanners detected a massive anomaly ahead. The ground sloped downward, revealing a cavernous opening partially obscured by debris. Inside, the air shimmered with residual energy, hinting at the presence of something extraordinary. The team exchanged nervous glances before descending into the abyss. What awaited them below was unlike anything they had imagined, a structure so vast and intricate that it defied description. Columns of crystalline material stretched upward, supporting a domed ceiling adorned with luminescent patterns. At the center stood the machine, its spindly limbs reaching skyward, its core pulsating with a soft golden light. Approaching the machine felt surreal, as though stepping into the pages of a myth. Its design was both alien and familiar, incorporating elements reminiscent of human engineering yet transcending it entirely. The surface gleamed with a metallic sheen, etched with runes that matched those found throughout the ruins. Embedded within its framework were conduits of liquid light, flowing in rhythmic pulses that mirrored the beat of a heart. The team moved cautiously, their movements deliberate and measured. Every step echoed in the cavern, the sound reverberating off the walls like a chorus of whispers. Dr. Chen initiated a diagnostic scan, her instruments humming softly as they collected data. The readings confirmed what they had suspected. The machine was still active, albeit in a dormant state. Its energy reserves were minimal, enough to sustain basic functions but insufficient for full operation. Reactivating it would require external input, likely drawing power from the planet's geothermal activity. Lieutenant Malik inspected the surrounding area, identifying potential sources of energy. Geysers erupted nearby, spewing superheated steam that could be harnessed. However, tapping into these resources posed significant risks. Any miscalculation could trigger another catastrophe, mirroring the fate of the original creators. Commander Alvarado documented the geological features, noting signs of tectonic instability. The region was a powder keg, primed for eruption. Yet paradoxically, this volatility also made it ideal for generating the immense power needed to awaken the machine. Dr. Fox focused on decoding the runes, searching for clues that might guide their efforts. The symbols conveyed warnings as well as instructions, emphasizing the importance of balance and restraint. It became clear that reactivating the machine wasn't simply a matter of flipping a switch, it required a deep understanding of its principles and a commitment to using it wisely. The team worked tirelessly, their actions synchronized like components of a single organism. Dr. Chen coordinated the setup of energy collectors, positioning them strategically around the geysers. Lieutenant Malik constructed a rudimentary power grid, channeling the harvested energy toward the machine. Commander Alvarado monitored seismic activity, alerting the group to any shifts that might indicate impending danger. And Dr. Fox continued deciphering the runes, translating their messages into actionable steps. Each task was critical, each decision potentially fatal. The stakes couldn't have been higher. As the power flowed into the machine, its core began to brighten, casting a warm glow that filled the cavern. The runes lit up in sequence, tracing intricate patterns across its surface. The air vibrated with anticipation, charged with the promise of revelation. But alongside excitement came fear. What would happen when the machine fully activated? Would it grant them the knowledge they sought, or unleash forces beyond their control? Captain Voss watched from a distance, his mind racing with possibilities. He had entrusted his crew with the responsibility of making history, but the weight of that trust pressed heavily on his shoulders. Finally, after hours of painstaking effort, the machine roared to life. Its limbs unfolded gracefully, stretching outward as if embracing the universe. A holographic interface materialized before the team, displaying streams of data in a language they had come to recognize. The runes translated into equations and diagrams, detailing the machine's capabilities and limitations. It was a marvel of engineering, capable of manipulating matter at the atomic level, reshaping environments, and even altering the flow of time. Yet it also bore the scars of misuse, its systems riddled with errors and vulnerabilities. The team realized that mastering it would require not just intellect but humility. With access to the machine's interface, the team embarked on a new phase of exploration. They delved into its archives, uncovering records of experiments conducted by the ancient civilization. Some projects had succeeded spectacularly, creating sustainable ecosystems and advancing medical science. Others had ended in failure, resulting in widespread devastation. The lessons were stark and sobering. Progress demanded accountability, and innovation carried inherent risks. Dr. Fox compiled these findings into a comprehensive report, highlighting key insights that could inform humanity's approach to similar technologies. Meanwhile, Dr. Chen experimented with the machine's capabilities, testing its ability to synthesize materials and purify contaminated substances. Her initial results were promising, suggesting that it could revolutionize resource management back on Earth. Lieutenant Malik focused on stabilizing the power supply, ensuring that the machine remained operational without triggering another disaster. His modifications proved effective, mitigating the risk of overload. Commander Alvarado analyzed the environmental impact, confirming that prolonged use of the machine could restore the planet's ecosystems if handled responsibly. Yet despite these successes, doubts lingered. The machine's creators had possessed unparalleled intelligence and skill, yet they had fallen victim to their own hubris. Could humanity avoid repeating their mistakes? Or was the allure of ultimate power too great to resist? Captain Voss wrestled with these questions, knowing that the answers would shape the course of history. The machine was a gift, but also a test, one that humanity might not be ready to pass. Days turned into weeks as the team continued their work, balancing experimentation with caution. They established protocols to prevent accidental misuse, implementing safeguards inspired by the machine's original design. Progress was slow but steady, each breakthrough accompanied by moments of reflection. The team grew closer, united by a shared sense of purpose and responsibility. They knew that their discoveries would change the world, for better or worse. Back on the Astrea Dash, Captain Voss prepared to transmit their findings to Earth. The message included detailed schematics, operational guidelines, and ethical considerations. It was a blueprint for the future, offering humanity a second chance to rewrite its story. But it also came with a warning. The machine's power was seductive, and its consequences irreversible. Only by learning from the past could they hope to build a brighter tomorrow. As the transmission launched into the void, the team gathered in the cavern one last time. The machine stood silent, its core dimmed but intact. They had done all they could, leaving behind a legacy that bridged two civilizations separated by millennia. Though uncertain of what lay ahead, they felt a profound sense of fulfillment. They had listened to the echoes of the past, and in doing so, given humanity a fighting chance. The journey back to the Astrea was bittersweet. The team reflected on their experiences, marveling at the wonders they had uncovered and mourning the tragedy that had unfolded. The planet remained a haunting reminder of what could happen when ambition overshadowed wisdom. As the shuttle ascended into orbit, RX 728 receded into the distance, its dying star casting a crimson glow over the horizon. The signal fell silent, its echoes fading into the cosmic expanse. On board the Astrea Dash, the crew prepared for the return voyage. Their mission had been successful, but it had also changed them. They carried with them not just knowledge, but a renewed sense of purpose. Humanity's survival depended on choices yet to be made, decisions informed by the lessons of the past. The machine's legacy would endure, a testament to the resilience of those who dared to dream and the caution of those who learned from failure. The Astrea entered hyperspace, its engines humming softly as it charted a course for Earth. Inside the command center, Captain Voss gazed at the stars, pondering the road ahead. The signal from RX 728 had been more than a message, it had been a mirror, reflecting humanity's potential and peril. The machine offered hope, but it also demanded vigilance. The future was unwritten, shaped by the actions of those willing to listen to the echoes of the past. As the ship sailed through the infinite void, the crew knew that their journey was far from over. They had taken the first step toward a new chapter in human history, one defined not by conquest, but by cooperation. The cosmos held countless mysteries, waiting to be unraveled. And somewhere among the stars, the whispers of lost civilizations continued to call out, inviting others to join the eternal quest for understanding. If you enjoyed this thrilling sci-fi adventure, don't forget to subscribe for more stories that explore the depths of imagination and challenge the boundaries of possibility. Until next time, keep looking to the stars.